Hey y'all, so I am almost 1 year post-op weight loss surgery, VSG. So I figured why not finally create a YouTube video talking about all the ins and outs of my journey. So where do I start? I can start about the moment I decided that I'm going to do weight loss surgery. I actually have been thinking about this since 2017 when I was about, 21. I was in 2017. Who knows math? And the thing for me was just like, I've always worked out. Like, I played sports in high school. I was fairly active in college, and I just still was gaining weight, and I didn't know why. I felt like, for me and my experience, at one point, I was just like, I eat better than most of my smaller friends. Like, why is it that I cannot lose weight? I'm more active. I'm doing those things. But what I had to come to the realization is that, like, I need this tool. And like my body was just working against me, and that's just the fact of the matter. Like, I did have PCOS, along with just like, I just couldn't lose the weight. I went to so many doctor's appointments, different doctors. Hold on, y'all, I'm outside. Yeah, so different doctors, and I've tried so many different things. I've done so many blood works to find like the cause of it, and the doctors, they was like, I don't know, you're doing all these things. I'm like, yes. And I just still couldn't lose the weight. So in 2017, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. When I moved to Tennessee, I filled out all the paperwork, but I just stopped responding to the doctors there because I was nervous. I chickened out. I just didn't have the courage, and I wasn't in the mental space to do the things. Fast forward, it is 2022 in the beginning of the year, and that is when, like, I was done. And when I mean I was done, like, I've always been like tired of being overweight. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to lose weight, oh my God, I lose weight. But like, I looked in the mirror, and then I stopped looking into the mirror. And that was the moment that I was just like, yeah, something gonna have to do. What happened was, like, I walked by the mirror one day, and I couldn't recognize myself. Like, I didn't know who I was. I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust what people say about me, because I'm just like, I know what I see, I know how I feel. Clothes were like, the clothes that I felt like, okay, I'm on a size 20 something, and I still couldn't fit in. It was like tight, I felt uncomfortable, and it just wasn't the best space for me mentally. And I feel like that was the moment I'm like, I hear myself and I hear all the things like, oh, you trying, you doing all these things, but it's not working. So now, baby girl, you're gonna have to use a tool. And that's ultimately what I did. So I reached out to Temple, and I started the whole process all over again in December of 2022. And I got my surgery in June of 2023. And for me, I feel like I had a very fast turnaround. I don't want to tell anybody like, oh yeah, it's 6 months, that's what's going to happen. I'm not sure what your process is going to be. I'm just going to tell you what mine was like, and we can go from there. So first things first, you need to make sure that you are in the mental state to get the surgery. Because beyond, like, I don't like when people say, like, you get the surgery, you automatically lose the weight. It don't work that way. Like, in theory, yes, but no. There is a lot of work for this, and it was a lot of things that even with the preparation that I had put together, I was still not ready for. So, let's start with the getting ready for surgery. You have to have, like, a mental health examination. So I had to see a psychiatrist to just see if I was mentally prepared, because the mental is the hardest part. Like, yes, there are physical attributes, especially right after surgery, that is super hard, and you regret it, and you just go through this funk. But it's the mental. When you have probably, I'm 120 pounds down, but it's those days when I look in the mirror, and you would think 120 pounds down, I'm like, yeah, I did it. I look in the mirror, and I still see that 327 pound girl. I can't understand why I look and feel this way. I'm sad. I'm just, hold on. Okay, that's better. But yes, so besides you have to see a psychiatrist, you also have to get a lot of blood work done. Like, they need to make sure everything is good, because once they go inside, they don't want to mess up anything, right? I also had to take like a lot of I take a sleep exam, but because I took my sleep exam a year or two ago, because I tried it again when I first came to Philly, and I was just like, I don't think I want to do this. I already had the sleep exam, so it was still covered from when I actually need to do the surgery. So you had to make sure that you don't have any like issues when you sleep. I also had no other health issues. So like besides me being drastically overweight and having PCOS, I didn't have like diabetes, hypertension, like all of those things that are usually associated with people who are obese or overweight, which I'm super grateful for. And I think that also helped with my journey. So if you do have those, that may be different, but just like something to consider. I also had to speak with a nutritionist. Like you have to speak to a nutritionist as much as you have to speak with the actual surgeon. So the nutritionist will give you different suggestions on what you do. When I first started this journey, I was a vegan/vegetarian, realizing that like I needed to consume a whole bunch of protein after, because I would have to now forfeit like the carbs and, you know, prioritize what I eat. So protein is like at the forefront of my meals. And I feel like when I transitioned to being a vegan/vegetarian, protein was not at the front of my diet, and it should have been, but that's just what my story was. And because of that, I now had to transition to be a pescatarian. So I was pescatarian for a while, but I'm also very picky. So I only ate really salmon. So I'm picky and I'm allergic to shellfish. So salmon was the bulk of what I got for my protein. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I was trying to debate with my personal self, like, do I give up meat? Like, do I go back to meat, or do I continue finding plant-based versions of things in order to get my protein goal? So I did that, and probably around April is when I got you approved, you can do everything. But I still had to wait for like, now we need to see if we could find you a surgery date. So it wasn't in April, because I remember when I found my surgery date, it was very fast. So it was late April, beginning of May. So that happened, and then probably a week before, because it was like a week before I had to stop eating, I got my surgery date. And I was like, oh my God, this is coming around so fast. What am I gonna do? But I was super excited because I finally was able to do this. Like I was like, yeah, I got this. At first I didn't tell anyone, because like besides like my best friend and like my mom and my really close friend, but like it was just nerve-wracking. I didn't know what people were gonna say, because a lot of people have this stigma when it comes to surgery, that it's like, oh, it's a one and done, and like, no, it's a lot of work. And I would truly say it saved my life, but not in the ways that most people would think it would. So surgery comes, and I have to prepare. So prior to surgery, there is, for me and my like doctor, my surgeon, he wanted you on a 2-week liquid diet. And I know some people have the diet where they're like, oh, you can eat a meal. Mine wasn't that. I had 2 weeks, nothing but liquids, protein shakes, water, broth. Like that's what it was. But I'm going to kid you not, I lost about 27 pounds, close to 30 pounds in those 2 weeks, because of the following reasons.